Welcome back everybody to another MOTOBOB video. We're at EICMA in Milan, the biggest and best motorcycle show in the world, and we've just arrived at the MV Agusta stand to have a look at this, the new LXP adventure bike. Now we saw the prototype of this a few years back, the 9.5. It's been renamed, it's been finalized in terms of the spec, and so this is the finished production version. So is it as good as that prototype look? Well, we'll go through all the details in this video to find out. Now the big update for this bike, and the one that I'm probably most excited about, is the engine. It's a new 931cc inline triple, and it's pretty much entirely new. They say there's only a handful of components that are actually in common with their previous 800 triples. Thing is, with those bikes, they are very revvy. They're a lot of fun, but you do need to wind them up in order to get the most out of them. And at road speeds, that can feel a little bit dissatisfying sometimes. So it's interesting for me that with this bike, rather than focusing on top-end peak power, the entire project, they say, has been based around giving it lots of usable mid-range shove and torque. I mean, it is still pretty punchy at the top. It's 123 horsepower, I believe, at around 10,000 RPM. So if you compare it to other 900 adventure bikes in that sort of class, that's very good indeed. In fact, they say it's sort of middleweight in stature, but more like a large capacity bike in terms of the power it puts out. But yeah, the key figure is 102 Newton meters of peak torque at 7,000 RPM. And they say the spread is very usable. So yeah, definitely looking forward to trying this out on the road and also seeing what else they use this platform for. It's pretty rare for a manufacturer now to build a new engine and not use it in multiple applications. So a roadster with a torquey MV triple sounds very enticing indeed to me. Few other features on this engine, like a quick shifter as standard, of course. It's got a counter-rotating crank, which they say helps with handling, and also it's got an exhaust control valve, which they say helps them to tune it for both torque in the low revs and then that top-end power when it winds up a bit. And also they say it's super compact. The engine on its own weighs 57 kilograms. And look, I don't have weight figures for all the other engines in the middleweight adventure market, but MV claim versus the competition, that is pretty light. Now look, the MV lineup doesn't contain any adventure bikes at the moment, so naturally the chassis is all new. So it's a steel double cradle frame. You can see it extends under the engine. That'll help them fit this decent bash guard to give it some protection underneath for off-roading. And also you've got a steel trellis subframe that's bolt-on, so if you do damage it, you can swap it out without having to, you know, write off the whole frame. Then you've got the aluminium swing arm at the rear, and I think it all looks very nice. I like this sort of metal finish at the back on the subframe, all of the trellis exposed there. And look, it's an MV, so of course, it's a handsome looking thing. Now, they're kind of billing this bike as a luxury adventurer, so the idea is it's got decent touring ability, and you're doing it in style and with premium components, but also genuine off-road ability. So the suspension, we've got a 48mm fully adjustable upside down Sachs fork. There's a Sachs shock at the rear as well, and that's also fully adjustable, and you get 210mm of travel front and rear, so really quite a decent amount, and it's on a par probably with the other off-road focused bikes on the adventure market. Braking looks pretty sporty. We've got some Brembo style Lemma calipers up front on 320mm discs. That's the sort of thing you'd find on a sporty naked or sports bike, so I'd expect braking power and feel to be really quite good. And you've got a 265mm disc at the rear, cornering ABS of course, and it's also switchable at the rear if you do want to slide the bike around off-road. Look at these beautiful wheels as well. We've got a 21-inch front and 18 rear, so perfect for adventure riding because you've got the right choice of on and off-road tires. But look at those Takasago XL rims. They called that out in the press briefing as a, you know, really nice quality feature, very high quality components, CNC hubs. They are tubeless as well, so easy to fix if you do need to repair a puncture. And this bike is homologated for both on and off-road tires. Now, before we get on to the next feature, I just want to say a massive thanks to our sponsors this week, and that's Metzeler Tyres and Insta360. Now, we use their X3 cameras. We've been using them at the show to get some nice wide shots. Obviously, there's a lot to see here, so a big wide lens captures it all. But we also use these back home when we're capturing our riding footage, and I absolutely love shooting with this camera. It's been a game changer for our workflow. The thing that's so great about 360 cameras is you can stick them anywhere on the bike, and then once you're done riding, import the footage into the app or the desktop software, and then you can reframe it and move it around and choose between landscape or portrait. And so that means you're not really worried about getting the framing right or the camera level when you're actually out on the bike. It makes it easy and fun to use and super creative. So look, check out the link down in the description to pick up yours, and also you'll find a code down there where you can get a free gift with every X3 purchased. So once again, a massive thanks to Insta360 for their support, and with that, back to the bike. So look, a great looking chassis spec. They do talk a little bit, like I say, about some of the components being lightweight as well. The engine, for example, some of the frame. But the only thing I will point out is that the dry weight is 224 kilograms, which I think is a bit above something like a KTM 890 or a Tiger 900. And yes, that's dry weight. So once you've got coolant and oil on board, and also this is a big 20-litre fuel tank with plenty of range, you're going to be up around the 250 kilogram mark. For me, that does sound pretty substantial. I mean, naturally being a big adventure touring bike, it's not going to be super lightweight, but consider the new BMW R1300 GS, for example, comes in at 237 kilograms curb. Still, I guess at least it's got plenty of power to make up for it. As for the seat height, it's adjustable between 850 and 870 millimeters, so that is, again, comparable with other middleweight adventure bikes. It's pretty typical, fairly tall. I don't know if there's a low seat accessory for shorter riders. And the rider triangle, they say, has been optimized for both long distance touring, but also being able to stand up when you're riding off-road. Just looking at it here, the bars do look particularly wide, so that's going to give you plenty of leverage. Off-road style pegs with removable rubbers, so leave the rubbers in if you're riding on the road to minimize vibes, take them out for more grip off-road. And the windscreen looks pretty decent to me. They say it's been optimized in sort of, aerodynamic testing. You've got quite big deflectors at the side and then a decent screen. There's a little vent probably to reduce buffeting as well. So for me, this looks pretty good. It's a big wide tank as well, so quite a lot of wind protection. And then there's the handguards to keep a little bit of chill off your knuckles. As for the tech, well, it's an MV Agusta, so they do come pretty stacked. And also, we'll get onto the price in a moment, but you would expect the absolute works for this sort of money. But yeah, we've got a 7-inch full-color TFT display, which looks very nicely done indeed. You've got backlit switchgear, which is a big deal if you're riding in the evening and it's dark. You've got 4 riding modes, so touring, urban, off-road, and custom. And within that, you've got 5 levels of road traction control, 2 levels of off-road traction control, and 1 range setting. There's front-wheel lift control, adjustable engine braking, adjustable ABS, connectivity with the MV app for media and navigation and stuff like that. And also their built-in GPS tracker, which is called a green box, which I think more manufacturers, especially on the more expensive bikes, should be fitting. Looks-wise, obviously it's heavily influenced by the Cagiva Elephant, and you've got the Lucky Explorer type branding on the side there. I think it's a great looking bike. Naturally, MV Agusta's design is always interesting and exciting and bold, and I think it's translated really quite nicely over to the adventure bike. I also think these sort of bare metal rims give it a slightly classic look, which I do really like, and certainly square on from the front end with the headlight design. I think it's really bold and distinctive and a great addition to the adventure market. But look, if you're looking to get hold of one, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there's 2 main problems for you. Number one is they're only making 500 of these globally, so I think they'll probably sell out quite quickly, and that's despite the price tag, which is said to be in the region of 30,000 euros. So what's that in pounds? Like 20-odd thousand pounds. Very steep. I think that really does take it out of any value for money comparisons with other adventure bikes on the market. That's not really what MV is about. It's about exclusivity and a really premium bike. And look, MV Agusta customers are used to it. As always though, let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. If you want to see more of our EICMA coverage as well, you can see it on screen right here on this playlist. Do check it out. We've got loads of bikes coming over the next few days. Subscribe if you've not already to see those videos as soon as they go live. Many thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.